Greetings, my dear viewers. It is I, Drahan, and welcome back to another horrifying episode of Dungeons & Dragons Character Conversion. Once again, we are taking a look at a pre-generated character made by Wizards of the Coast. This time, we are taking a look at Krull, the priest of Tiamat, found in Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. He works alongside Archon the Krull. And, well, we're not given too much information about him. Unlike Archon, Krull was never originally a character. He was just kind of put there by Wizards of the Coast. What we do know about him is that he is, well, he's a priest of Tiamat. He worships Tiamat and is looking for a way to control the hand of Vecna. For whatever reason. My suspicions is that he is trying to help Archon get past the curse. But that's nothing I can prove. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on with the build by looking at Krull's stat sheet from Descent into Avernus. And we have a pretty good stat sheet here. He's a challenge rating of 6, got some impressive stats. And as you can see here, he is a 14th level Cleric, which is not bad for a challenge rating 6 character. And as you can see with this feature here, we know that Krull's domain is death, which has to be the most confusing part about this character, because Krull worships Tiamat, and nowhere in the Forgotten Realms lore, or even outside of the Forgotten Realms lore, does it mention once that Tiamat's portfolio includes death. The portfolio is what each god runs. If I remember correctly, AJ Peckett has a few videos going over the gods. It was either him or somebody else, I don't quite remember. Anyway, Tiamat governs greed, wrath, trickery according to 5th edition, as well as evil-aligned dragons, and evil reptile figures such as lizard folk and kobolds, but I digress. Nothing about death. This is kind of confusing. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into his build by giving a rough glance at his base character. We know his race is Tortle. His class is a 14th level Cleric of the Death Domain, but no noticeable background. Now, just a side note, this further This puts further emphasis on Krull's domain being confusing. Krull has prayers to Tiamat etched into his shell in Draconic. So him being Death Domain Cleric makes next to no sense. Yes, he commands an army of the undead. Yes, he wants to try to control the hand of Vecna. But that's it. Nothing else points to him being a death domain. It's like saying Two-Face from DC Comics should be a Black Lantern because he had a near-death experience. There are a couple of YouTubers that explain the Black Lantern Corps. Go watch them, see why that's confusing. Anyway, Krull does not fit being a Death Domain Cleric. So let's go ahead and start with the character build. As always, we'll be using the point-buy system. For strength, go with a 13. Dexterity and wisdom can be a 14. To start off, constitution and intelligence will be a 10, and we'll have charisma at an 11. This will be important later. Now, race. Obviously, we're doing the Tortle. You get a +2 to strength, +1 to wisdom. You have claws, hold breath, natural armor, shell defense, and survival instinct. So that'll increase our strength and wisdom to a 15. Pretty good so far. Alright, background. We're going to make this simple. He is an Acolyte. He serves Tiamat. Obviously, Acolyte. Class, we're going to keep his Cleric class, but we're going to change his domain. We're going with the Dragon domain. This domain can be found in the Book of Dragons, Volume 1, which can be found on the DM's Guild. I'll make sure to have a link to that page in the description below. With the Dragon domain, at first level you get your domain spells as usual, and you get Draconic Knowledge. Second level, you get your special channel divinity. This one is called Frightful Presence. At 6th level, you get Draconic Resistance. At 8th level, you get a special feature called Dragon Strike, which uses a 1d8. At 14th level, your Dragon Strike increases to 2d8. 17th level, you get Draconic Immunity. Now, once we get to a 20th level Cleric, yes, we're going to go full 20th level Cleric for this build, you'll be using the following enhancements of your stats. Your first one is going to be to Strength, making it a 17. Your second one will be to Constitution and Wisdom, both increased by 1. Next, you'll be increasing your Charisma by 2. Followed by 2 to your Strength, and finally 2 to your Constitution. And that's going to be all for your base character. Sorry. Thirsty. Now, let's go ahead and go over some additional classes. Because in the Book of Dragons, you have the option of going above a level 20th character. In fact, it goes along with another book called Epic Level Characters, which goes to level 30. And one of the things it has is a prestige class, known as the Dracolyte. This can be found in the Book of Dragons, Volume 2. And the Dracolyte is very similar to a class we've already covered from the Grease Monkey's Handbook, the Atom Pilot. You only get 5 levels, and you have to meet certain prerequisites. Charisma has to be 13, you need to know Draconic as a language, your character level must be at least level 5, and you have to have completed a special task as given to your Dragon Idol. This, of course, being Tiamat. At first level, you get your Dragon Idol and your Draconic Majesty. Level 2, you get Draconic Emulation. Third, you get Dragon Strike, much like your Dragon Domain Cleric. So if you wanted to, you can keep your Death Domain Cleric, as little sense as that makes, and just go with a Dracolyte. At 4th level, you get Draconic Emulation again, just improved. And finally, you get improvement onto your Draconic Emulation and Dragon's Strike. Now, there is one more class I want to go over that will help you with a more accurate Krull. If you do not want to go with a Dracolyte, I would suggest going only 6 levels of Cleric in the Death Domain. And for your remaining 14 levels, take on the wizard. Most importantly, the Necromancy wizard. Now, of course, you will need an intelligence of 13 in order to use this class. So instead of having an 11 in your charisma, have an 11 in your intelligence. And instead of increasing your charisma, increase your intelligence. You'll be able to create undead at 6th level. At 10th level, you get your necrotic resistance, much like with the Death Domain Cleric. And your hit point maximum can't be reduced because of this. And at level 14, the most important part is that you can control even more undead, which is Krull's stick into Avernus. Because Archon the Krull gives Krull an army of the undead to control. So it would make sense that he has the ability to control some undead. Okay. Now that we've gone over Krull, I'm going to have to end it here. Tune in Friday for another character build similar to this one. This one going over Torogar Steelfist, Archon's bodyguard. Till next time, dear viewers, this has been Drahan, and I apologize for not posting a video on Monday. If you have Discord, make sure to check out my Discord server. I explain why I haven't posted a video on Monday. That being, I was on a fishing trip with my uncle, father, and grandfather. We had a decent time. The fish really didn't bite for whatever reason, but we did get a decent haul. So if you want to check that out, I have a new channel section called Drahan IRL, where you get to see photos and maybe even videos of me in the real world. Also, I posted a character build of a fisherman. More specifically, a fisherman that I admire. Jeremy Wade from River Monsters and Dark Waters. An excellent fisherman, so I made a build for him. Make sure to check that out. I'll have the link to my Discord server in the description below. Until next time, I am offline.